So last time you were on, we discussed theories regarding Ifrit. I said that Clive's Ifrit, and you said that it was actually someone who was from a different country, basically like a secret weapon of mass destruction, who was used to set off a war. And after the Dominance trailer, the last few seconds, where you can clearly see two Ifrits, it seems like we may both be right.
So no, when you sent me a message about this, you were like, it seems like we may both be right. I was like, he ruined the bit I was gonna do. I was gonna come in and be like, what if we were both? Coming to you with my hat in hand, clearly Clive is Ifrit, but what if we were both right?
Yeah.
But no, it's we like I said, just to give everybody a quick recap, last time we were on, we discussed your theory that Clive is somehow, he is secretly the dominant of Ifrit, and doesn't know it at the beginning of the game. There's this discussion of a dark icon in some of the press stuff that's been released so far. And then my discussion was that we have another nation called the Iron Kingdom, which is off the coast, shares the same crystal source as the Duchy of Rosaria. But it said that any dominants born there are considered heretical and they're put to death once they are discovered, right? And I said, it's odd to list this country that's detached from all the other politics and doesn't speak the language of the land, and that their dominant is unknown. So it's like, it would make a lot of sense, and it would be a very kind of Matsuno FF14 political writing decision to say that somebody in this world infiltrated that country, found the current dominant before they could be executed, and removed them, and living memory of this dominant is gone. People don't know what it is, or who it is, or where it came from, so this could then be used as a secret weapon to kick off a war. Because from the description of the world on the website, it seems like there's a tentative peace. But obviously in the trailers that we see after a time skip, there's gonna be an all-out war. And this could be used to kick things off and rebalance power without there being an obvious belligerent. Or at least perhaps one of the other smaller nations that wants to start some crap could go ahead and do it, right? But like you said, it becomes a little funky now if that's the case. And also, well, maybe, I mean, that's hypothetically, maybe that could be right? Because like you said, there seem to be two Ifrits at the ending of the trailer. And it also definitely seems to be directly implying that Clive is Ifrit. A bunch of stuff. It seems like we could both be right. There's a lot to think about here.
It's so...
For the moment,
yeah.
Like you said, it's probable that Clive is Ifrit. But just for the sake of argument, let's say that the dominant of Ifrit is a man named Pepe Sylvia. Just for the sake of debate, okay? We're gonna break into this a little bit. I got some stuff to say here, all right? So, in our first trailer, ladies and gentlemen, in the very first trailer that we received, we got this important line here. A second icon of fire? That's impossible, says the man as he's knocked down onto the ground looking up at a big fire thing exploding, right? So this is the key statement that ties everything together. A second icon of fire, that's impossible. How could this be? What's going on here, all right? So, we got some important stuff to cover. First of all, we got Phoenix. Ladies and gentlemen, Phoenix, it is said on the website that the Duchy of Rosaria is home to the dominant of Phoenix, the icon of fire. We had some discussion last time around a second icon of fire, what could this mean? Especially now there are two Ifrits running around. So, I wonder what they mean by a second. Let's assume for a moment the first icon of fire is in fact the dominant of Phoenix, right? The Phoenix is the first icon of fire, right? But we have this other detail over here. We have the Iron Kingdom and an unknown icon. We don't know anything about it, and it seems like most people in this world don't know anything about. Now, an element of the story, one way or the other, is that there is some mysterious person who is the dominant of Ifrit. So there is a mysterious dominant out there, right, that we don't know anything about from this location, perhaps otherwise. And Ifrit seems to be unaccounted for because the reaction is, I don't know who that is. That's impossible. Never heard of anything like that. It seems like, especially with the lineup that we've shown us so far, all of the different characters are different. All the different summons are different elements, right? We don't really have doubles other than this boy and Ifrit. So we're left to think to ourselves, okay, so mysterious, dominant, Ifrit is unaccounted for. Makes sense that it comes from the Iron Kingdom, especially because the Iron Kingdom and the Duchy of Rosaria share the same mother crystal. Perhaps and it's literally located inside of a volcano, so they're both fire elemental. Okay, all right, so this is getting pretty interesting here, okay? But then, we gotta go over here for a second. let's loop back over here to the information that we know about Rosaria. It said on the website that it was expected for Clive, the firstborn of the High House, to receive Phoenix, to become the dominant of Phoenix, but it eventually went to his younger brother, Joshua. This was unexpected, but not, it seems, unprecedented. People, at least the website doesn't imply that people were freaked out about it, just that it was expected he would get it. It went here instead. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, this leads me to some other thoughts, right? Because, like you said, wait a second. What if this guy is also Ifrit, right? But it'd be a little bit odd for this thing to appear out of nowhere in this family line. So the only explanation is that Clive is adopted. Clive is not actually the son of the Duke of Rosaria. We already know that they adopted Jill Warwick to try and reduce turmoil up in the fallen northern territories, right? Or whatever they said. So what if there was all kinds of craziness going on? There was a lot of tension. It said that their power is being diminished. The influence of the duchy is being diminished by, among other things, the Blight. Maybe in order to try and secure their position, because the king was having difficulty, siring an heir. Screw it. Just get an heir. Get one just for now, just so it looks like the House of Rosaria is stable. So he's adopted. But then this, well, then that's certainly a question, isn't it? Well, if Clive is Ifrit, could Clive be the mysterious dominant from the Iron Kingdom who is unaccountable? Could, in the ongoing territorial dispute over the crystal that these two nations share, could they have actually gone in and nabbed the kid from the Iron Kingdom? And that's who Clive is. Interesting. Very interesting to consider. But then we have this whole other issue, because last time around we discussed the hypothetical possibility of could he actually be Ifrit himself, right? And I had some concerns about this personally, because I felt like, I joked last time, you'll recall, what would happen when the developers from the FF16 went to the cafeteria at Square and said, we're going to have this story where the main character turns into a Ifrit and accidentally kills his own people and he wants revenge, but oh no, it was me, Ares, you made me kill my wife and daughter, no! And then the guy across the table says, we're making a game called Stranger in Paradise and we're also doing that. It'd be very awkward. And I'm just going to say in general, other than Kratos, that one's actually a good example of this trope. Generally speaking, I don't like the story trope of character hulked out and killed somebody they loved. Unless, if it's like a supporting character in their backstory. But I don't want if the whole plot of this game is, I'll kill you if it's the last thing I do, and the reveal is, oh, it was me! That's gonna be a little bit disappointing. So, we got all this stuff going on here, right? If this is the first Icon of Fire and we don't have another one, it's easy enough to assume the second Icon of Fire is in fact Ifrit. And Clive is Ifrit, is what we're thinking here. This trailer certainly seems to be implying that Clive is Ifrit. We see during boss fights, right? We see during the icon fights that we're seeing, Ifrit's health bar is always up on this side of the screen and the other one is over here, right? It's in the same position as Clive's health bar. The implication being possibly that we are playing as Ifrit, fighting all of these other dominants, right? We were discussing this a minute ago. This seems probable. It's in the same position as Clive's. But then there's something very odd. I don't know if you've noticed this. The first bit of summoning footage that we see in that trailer is a fight between Phoenix and Ifrit. That's the first bit of footage that we see. Now, it's not at the Duchy of Rosaria's two-towered castle. There's a bunch of huge crystal spires in the background. We saw these briefly in the first trailer as well. We saw in the first trailer a fight between Phoenix and Ifrit. It was at these huge crystalline spires. Now, it is possible that this is like the ending of the game or something at some crazy location, or even it could be the prologue, right? In time immemorial, the two great fire spirits fought for domination, whatever, right? Who knows? But in that sequence where we see Phoenix and Ifrit fighting, Phoenix's health bar is on the same side as the player character. It's in the position where Clive's health bar would be, or where Ifrit's health bar is in all of the other fights. And over here, Ifrit's bar doesn't say Ifrit. It says the dark icon.
Oh.
So, the dark icon ladies and gentlemen. This is discussed on the website that Clive's life is ruined. Clive's life is destroyed by the appearance of the dark icon. And it's specifically discussed that Bernadica, right, it says on her website, this espionage lady from Waloed, I think is the name of the country, she is hunting for the second icon of fire, and she meets with a like-minded Clive. So Clive does want revenge on an Ifrit-like figure that causes turmoil in his life, a dark icon. And we see at the ending of the trailer, two Ifrits. I'm writing really fast, and my handwriting just completely fell apart there, because it's all dying here. So listen, this is the problem, right? This is the problem. This is where it gets really sinister. This is where it gets really nuts, okay? Because it says that a one person contains these things, right? Now, there's all kinds of potential options here. Maybe all of the dominants have a dark variation of themselves. I mean, that's always possible, right? Maybe every single one of these guys has a dark counterpart somewhere out there that we haven't found out about yet, and this is going to be one of the big reveals of the game. As you acquire the powers of all these other people, like Bernadica, maybe you become friends with them, but you still have to fight them because there's evil versions out there somewhere. Maybe everybody's got that, right? Seems a little bit odd, considering that second icon of fire is already considered this weird, impossible thing. And we got this concept of a dark icon, something that's unknown that we don't really know that much about, right? And that Clive is out to get Ifrit. Seems to be. But he also is Ifrit. And there seem to be two Ifrits. And it's only ever bound to one person at a time. The dominant is a single person. Not like a whole bunch of summoners can summon one thing. It's bound to a single person. There's only one explanation. Clive's evil twin! Clive has a twin from the Iron Kingdom. They're both out there somewhere. The other one is evil, and they're gonna have to fight. And that's why it took him so long to awaken to Ifrit in the first place, because it seems like everybody else awakens to this stuff relatively early in life. Why didn't he? What's going on here, right? It's because Ifrit is dual aspected, and there's an incomplete control over it on the part of both Ifrit and his twin, right? They're both out there somewhere, and neither of them has complete control of their power. Somewhere, the dark icon, Clive's twin, is being trained to do sinister shit, right? And Clive doesn't know anything about this, but eventually when the dark icon appears and wrecks his life, this will cause some kind of resonance. When he sees Joshua getting the crap kicked out of him, and he's gonna freak out, and he will turn into a Ifrit as well. And they battle now. They battle now, and he must hunt and find his twin, who is the true villain of Final Fantasy XVI, and that's why there's still the Phoenix and Ifrit fighting each other on the logo, because Joshua's still alive and he's gonna be fine, and the final battle will be somehow Clive will support Joshua. I haven't figured that part out yet. Anyway, that's what I got. That's who Pepe Sylvia is. It's Clive's twin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest thing that has ever happened on this stream.
I tried. Listen, I don't like doing the theory mongering stuff, but my brother and I were talking about this and we figured it out, and I was like, you know what? Go big or go home. That's the way it is.
For the record, by the way, just so everyone knows, I had no idea he had this plan. All he told me was, hey, I got a theory, and I'm going to explain my theory on the stream. And I was like, yeah, okay, man, that sounds good. He's like, yeah. I was like, go ahead and do your thing. I had no idea that it was going to be. That is so amazing. I am just as shocked as everyone in the audience, man. That was a fantastic moment. Oh,
well, thank you very much. I tried.
I am rolling. Okay.
So now that we've figured out the plot of the game, we
Yes.
can move on and talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is going to be much harder to untangle, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Well, howdy. Thanks for watching my video, and thanks again to the Night Sky Prince for letting me come on his show and tolerating this tomfoolery. If you want to go check out the full stream, there will be a link on the screen momentarily. YouTube only lets us do that in the last 20 seconds of a video now, but it'll come along. in just a moment. We talked about Final Fantasy XVI stuff. We talked about the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth news and the other associated 7 projects. It was a good time. Go check it out. Maybe you'll find it interesting if you're into that sort of thing. Also, if you happen to be watching this video on the day that it comes out, then you might want to consider swinging by our second channel, Research Runs, later today, because myself, Joey, and Joshua are going to be streaming more of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, check that out if you want to. Anyway, thanks again for watching. See you later.